Oh boy, get your popcorn and tea ready. Crash Thompson's reviewing a Five Finger Death Punch album. Yeah, I know. Me and these chunguses, we ain't got a pretty history, but man, did you hear Got My Six a few years back? It was bad. Really bad, and it wasn't just my grumpy ass that was saying that shit either. This thing was an absolutely lazy, pointless bore fest of wasted potential, and given the cataclysm of horror stories the band went through during that album's promotional cycle, it's a miracle these guys even survived to make another record. Man, this band was just at the bottom of the barrel, and they were actively trying to scrape themselves lower. But hey, that kind of thing can be, for lack of a better word, educational for a group. Hey, being at the bottom can teach you a lot of lessons you probably would have been too starry-eyed to figure out at the top. Well, despite all their bullshit, they somehow did get to the point where we have another album in our hands, and from interviews, it did sound like Ivan was finally in at least a decent enough place to not be a walking disaster area. You know, no matter how much bad history I may have with a band, I never walk into an album wanting to hate it. I promise you, I don't. I didn't want to hate this album either. I wanted this to be the culmination of all those lessons that Five Finger Death Punch desperately needed to learn over the past 5 to 10 years or so. It would have been downright romantic to see this band pick up the pieces of their shattered stained glass menagerie and arrange it back into a completely new piece of art, but they didn't do that on this album. This album, it's just a mess. This won't be so much of a review for And Justice for None as it will be an autopsy. For one thing, I listened to the special deluxe edition of this album, which has 3 extra tracks. Because I hate myself, I guess, and 2 of those tracks are some of the worst goddamn covers you will hear all damn year. Unless Corey Feldman decides to surprise us with another album, I don't think we're gonna get much worse than the absolutely pointless maiming of poor Kenny Wayne Shepherd's Blue on Black, or the listless, tired, exhausted, meandering exercise and missing the point rendition of The Offspring's Gone Away. Do you remember Dexter's exquisite vocal delivery on that thing? Yeah, well, here's Ivan's take.
And it feels like heaven so far away.
Pa-fucking-thetic. In fact, good God, Ivan's performance is easily one of the worst things about this album. That low singing, half-awake, grumbly, mumbly half-singing he does on that track. Yeah, that shit is all over this record. And look, say whatever you want to about this band, but one of the few assets, nobody could deny them, was that Ivan had an absolutely visceral shout. The dude was just raw aggression and power, and he could absolutely pulverize you over the course of an album. Here, no way, dude. Not even slightly up to his usual standards. He sounds bored and sleepy 90% of the time, and the other times when he actually does try to deliver a shout, he sounds less like he's delivering a battle cry and more like he's yelling at the damn neighbor cat to get out of his trash bins. He sounds disoriented and so very complainy. Yeah, not that I was, expecting gold from Five Finger Death Punch lyrics here. I mean, even fans probably know to lower their expectations a fair bit in that department. But oh my god, he's so not getting me on his side here. On this album, Moody appears to have taken songwriting cues out of the Phil Labonte, Eric July playbook of songwriting. That is, namely, like on Champagne, where he bitches and complains about his label trying to sue him, and TMZ just basically being TMZ and taking a hit out on Blabbermouth. Blabbermouth, yeah, of all the fucking... The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Blabbermouth can fucking suck it, cause they never fucking knew me. Yeah, that right there is a line that'll go down in history. That'll never get dated, ever, at all. Do half of you even know what Blabbermouth is? And the album is just full of this wah-wah bullshit. Basically, Ivan's biggest lesson and rebuttal formulated after 3 to 5 of the hardest years of his entire life is to just restate everything everyone else has ever said about him and say, "No, you are it!" And don't think for a second I'm letting the rest of the band off the hook, because they are just as tedious as Ivan on this thing. Everyone's on autopilot. Everyone. Zoltan Bathory and Jason Hook do absolutely nothing with the guitar work here. The hooks are the same tedious 3-chord chugs you've heard a million other times in a million other songs, and the solos are all like weirdly slow building, and they tend to favor the lower notes on the neck, and they're just not exciting at all. Those of you who really like your willy wees and your crazy pentatonics and diminished scale shred fiestas, you solo freaks, no. This is middle ground, muddy, and intensely boring lead work. And Jeremy Spencer, did he even play on this thing? I, honest to God, had to look up to see if he'd left the group or something. His playing sounds like something a journeyman would do, or it sounds like something straight out of GarageBand. Hey, I got nothing against GarageBand. Hell, I've been using it myself lately for reasons, but dude, you're in Five Finger Death Punch. If your work can be replaced by, hang on, what is it? Anders set to his heavy setting, you are really not doing the music any favors, homie. But man, that's this album's biggest problem. Nobody is showing up on it, at all. Even more so than on Got Your Six. Got Your Six was generic and dumb and samey, but at least it felt like a Five Finger Death Punch album. Here? Man, these guys just don't care. They don't care. They're exhausted, they're spent, they're used up, cashed out, and completely out of energy and ideas. And the sad part is, they aren't even trying to hide it. The lyrics may say the opposite, but if you don't really mean it, the music will always betray you. And this... holy shit, I completely understand why your label wanted you gone. This band may not have broken up as a result of all their turmoil, but judging by what I just listened to, they really should have. And again, I don't have a joke for that. That's not funny. That's just sad. The biggest disappointment with this band was always the gallons upon gallons of potential they kept wasting on every album they released. And now, that bucket finally feels completely empty. To all my friends that I know that do still love this band and were really, really counting on this one, fuck, dudes. My heart goes out to you. Just... And Justice for None gets 1 empty bucket out of 5.